What's up everyone, my name's Trevor, you can call me Tease, and today we got the September roster drop for the United States men's national team and I'm so excited to take a look at it. Okay, so this is my first look at the new United States men's national team roster, and let's just take a look at it, shall we? Alright, for goalkeepers, we got Ethan Horvath, Sean Johnson, and Matt Turner. No Zach Steffen. I believe he's still out to injury, or he's just benched. I'm not really sure. I feel like Steffen always makes a big deal whenever he gets injured, and he's out for a lot longer than he should be. But I really like the Horvath pick. I'm really glad he's in here. He's probably my favorite goalkeeper and has been for some time for the United States men's national team. Then we got Sean Johnson, who hasn't been playing particularly well for New York City. I mean, it makes sense that he's in here. I kind of wish that Gaga would get a chance, but not to be. And then we got Matt Turner as well, of course. He's not really getting playing time. He got that one match in the Champions League, and he did okay. He didn't really have to do too much. I mean, the one goal he conceded was a penalty, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But overall, I like the goalkeeping room. I kind of wish Gaga Slonina was in there, though. Moving on to the defenders, we got Reggie Cannon, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Serginho Dest, Aaron Long, Chris Richards, Joe Scally, Sam Vines, DeAndre Yedlin, and Walker Zimmerman. Alright, so it really does seem that the backup left back is going to be a right back in this camp, and maybe even the World Cup. We'll see how Sam Vines does do during this camp. I've been really high on him lately. I know he's not the best moving forward, but he's a good piece defensively and kind of gives you a different look within the team. I'm not really too pleased with the Yedlin pick. I mean, it makes sense. He's one of Gregg's guys, and he has, the most amount of experience on this team. But I was thinking Shaq Moore was going to be a part of this camp. But not to be, I guess. Reggie Cannon as well. Okay. Gives you a different look if you play him as a right center back in a back three. I think that's what Gregg is going for. He's trying to give them more minutes in that shape. I guess we'll have to take a look at it once they play the games. But I am happy to see Joe Scally here. Once again, I feel like Gregg's giving him a chance, and we never thought that Gregg would give Joe Scally a chance. I want to see him on the left, as do probably a lot of people. I want to see if he can take that backup role away from Sam Vines, who I think has that spot right now. Maybe even Serginho Dest. And then for center backs, we got CCV, Aaron Long, Chris Richards, and Walker Zimmerman. Not really any surprises here. I feel like EPB kind of got snubbed a little bit. Of course, Aaron Long being there is kind of a disappointment to about 95% of Usmnt fans, but he's one of Gregg's guys. Gregg's not going to leave him at home, especially for this camp. And then moving on to the midfielders, we got Kellen Acosta, Tyler Adams, Luca De La Torre, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, and Malik Tillman. Now, looking at the defenders and the midfielders, I'm noticing that there's no James Sands here. He has been playing pretty decent for Rangers, but maybe it's just not enough to show Gregg that he's worthy of a roster spot here. I would have liked another look at him, but maybe Gregg doesn't see it that way. But moving on to the sixes, Kellen Acosta, Tyler Adams, no surprises there. I feel like Luca De La Torre could even be a backup there to Acosta if one of them goes down. And then the eights, we got Luca De La Torre, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musa, Malik Tillman. I'm happy that Gregg sees Malik Tillman as a midfielder. I was worried he was going to see him as a winger. I think he would work a lot better within this midfield. I wouldn't be surprised as well if we see Brennan Aronson in the midfield, or even Gio Reyna. We're going to have to see what Gregg does. And then moving on to the forwards, we got Brendan Aronson, Paul Arriola, Jesus Ferreira, Jordan Morris, Ricardo Pepi, Christian Pulisic, Gio Reyna, and the return of Josh Sargent. I'm super excited to see what Josh Sargent can bring. He's hot right now, scoring goals in the championship all over the place, and I hope he can continue that hot streak for us. Ricardo Pepi is the surprise inclusion over Jordan Pefok. I know Jordan Pefok was going through a bit of an injury. I'm not sure if that's what kept him out, but it does seem that Gregg does favor Pepe over Pefok. I mean, we've seen that within the last few camps, but I do think that Pefok deserves a roster spot with how many goals he has been scoring in the Bundesliga, and Pepe didn't score any in the Bundesliga. So, and on to the wingers, we got Paul Arriola and Jordan Morris. I do think that one of these guys are going to be cut during the World Cup for Tim Weah. I think it would be Paul Arriola who gets cut just because he plays on that right wing where Weah plays. Jordan Morris, I feel like he can give the attack something different if it's, 89th, 90th minute. Throw him up there, big body in the box. He might be able to get his head onto something and knock it down. But if Jordan Morris starts a game, that's when I get worried. Brendan Aronson, Gio Reyna, I touched on them a little bit. I really hope to see at least one of them play in the midfield during one of these games, just to see how they look. I really liked the way Brendan Aronson played in the midfield during the friendlies before, and I think Gio Reyna could definitely do a job there, but I'm not sure if Gregg sees it that way. And of course, you got Christian Pulisic. You're not going to leave him out of the roster. And Jesus Ferreira, Gregg's favorite forward at the moment. He is scoring a lot of goals for FC Dallas, and I hope that does continue. I'm rooting for him. I think he's got a lot of talent. I don't not necessarily think he's a striker per se, maybe a false 9. If he does get a move elsewhere, I feel like they'd play him at a 10 role, most likely. I just don't really see him as an out-and-out striker. Now moving on to some notable absences. Of course, Zach Steffen, he's out to injury, we believe, as well as Gaga Slonina. He's out of this roster, but I think that's just so he can keep getting minutes with the Chicago Fire, and because I think Ethan Horvath and Sean Johnson are both fighting for that backup spot. I don't think Gregg sees Gaga being called up to the World Cup roster just yet, which makes sense. He is young. Anthony Robinson as well, out to injury. Of course, can't talk about a Gregg roster without John Brooks being snubbed as well. He is probably out of match fitness just because he hasn't really played for Benfica yet. But, I mean, come on, he's John Brooks. He's probably the best center back we have right now. No George Bello, which makes sense. He's playing sometimes in Bundesliga too. No Gianluca Busio in the midfield. That also makes sense. He's playing in Serie B. No Christian Roldan. He's out to injury. And then, of course, no Jordan Pefok and no Haji Wright as well. I feel like Haji Wright could really work on the wings in this system because I feel like he's definitely a better athlete than Jordan Morris, and I feel like he's even a bigger body than Jordan Morris, even though Jordan Morris is like huge now. I would definitely call up Haji Wright over Jordan Morris and put him on that backup left wing spot behind Christian Pulisic. And no Brandon Vasquez as well, who was hyped up tremendously. I mean, he does look like a good talent, but he just looks like a poacher. Similar to Pepe, except I feel like Pepe has better movement within the box, as well as a better touch. And still no Jossie Zardes, which pretty happy about overall. Alright, so now I'm going to go through the roster and make my selections on what I think the best 11 is and what I think Gregg will do. So for the best 11, I have Matt Turner in goal, Serginho Dest on the right, Sam Vines on the left, Walker Zimmerman, and Chris Richards at the back. In midfield, we got Tyler Adams at the 6, and then Weston McKennie and Musa at those 8s. And for the forwards, I really want to see Josh Sargent alongside Christian Pulisic and Gio Reyna. I think that would be a great, and I feel like this team could win games in the World Cup. Now what I think Gregg will try to do is I think he's going to play a little bit differently. I think he's going to go with Matt Turner at goal. For the defenders, I think that Gregg is going to go with a 5 at the back. I think that Serginho Dest is going to be on the right wing. I think Sam Vines is going to be on the left wing. I think that Walker Zimmerman is going to be in the middle of that center defense. I think Chris Richards is going to be to the left of him. And then I think Reggie Cannon is going to play as a right center back. And then for the midfield, I'm going to go Tyler Adams at the 6, Weston McKennie and Musa in the midfield, which means only 2 more spots. I do think that in a 5-back system, I think it would be best to see Josh Sargent and Christian Pulisic up top. But I could totally see Gregg doing a lot of different things. I really don't like wingers in this formation. I think that Serginho Dest and Sam Vines could get up the field quite easily in this formation. As long as that midfield is steady, even Yunus Musa could get out wide if you put him on the left, in case Sam Vines just can't get up the field for whatever reason. But if it's a back 4, this is how I think Gregg will see it. Matt Turner in goal again, and then I think he's going to put DeAndre Yedlin on the right, Serginho Dest on the left, and then back line consisting of Walker Zimmerman and Chris Richards. Midfield, MMA, no changing that. And then I think that Gregg is going to put Jesus Ferreira in the middle, Christian Pulisic on the left, and Brendan Aronson on the right. All right, guys, so that is the USMNT roster for September. I'm going to put out a World Cup prediction roster soon enough. Once we see these games, see how Gregg lines up, then eventually I'll put out my 100% correct prediction roster. Just you wait and see. I know exactly who Gregg is going to pick for this World Cup after this. All right, so what do you guys think about this roster? Who did I miss on being snubbed? Who did Gregg miss that you really wanted to be put into this roster? Do you think Gregg is going to go with the back 5 formation during this camp? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. Once again, my name's Trevor, you can call me Tease, and this has been the USMNT Roster Drop.